as a hard skill. On a personal level, think of how it is needed to settle a disagreement between two neighbors. And on a global level, okay, communication is needed to negotiate trade agreements, peacekeeping, international treaties, and of course, a style of fence to build between two properties all rely on expressing your thoughts and listening to those of others. Now, friends, if we have a poor communication, it leads to severe breakdowns in cooperation. And effective communication, on the other hand, results in disagreements, misunderstanding, mistrust, and general disinterest. Excellent communication, on the other hand, builds trust, strengthens partnership, and reduces conflict. So it's a given. You want to be able to understand and others and be understood as well. So the biggest compliment in communication is when someone hears you demonstrate being interested and finds you an interesting person. And it's a worthy goal, right? In communication, our goal is to be interesting, not only interesting, but also interested to other people. And by saying that interested to other people, how can you show your interest to other people? By listening. Okay? So, what is effective communication? Effective communication simply means conveying your clear ideas and information and active listening. So, that is effective communication. And as we all know, communication is the exchanging of information and ideas. Just like what Father Raul, he shared his reflections, his wisdom and insights. That is effectively communicating his reflections to us. Effective communication involves understanding the emotion and purpose behind the information and ideas. And as a listener, I have to listen deeply to Father Raul and his reflections so that I can understand the emotion behind those reflections. And when you say understand, listening carefully, I have to look at him all the time, if not all the time, almost the time, without doing anything if possible. Although I wrote some of his phrases, and I love what I wrote it here when he mentioned, we will not serve people if we don't love. I wrote it down. But as much as possible, I don't want to do anything else because for me, if you want to understand the emotion behind those words, behind those messages, behind those reflections, you have to listen. That is the reason why God gave us 2 ears to use it to listen, and God gave us only one mouth. So you see, in effective communication, listening is very important. In a perfect world, we would speak and listen. That is actually the essence of communication. You are speaking and listening. And you listen and speak with absolute confidence and focus. So when you speak, you have that absolute confidence and focus. And this is all my teachings and my facilitation you have to have this absolute confidence and focus on what you are saying. The same way you have the absolute focus when you listen to someone. And some others said, here, mostly Filipino immigrants said, I'm really scared to speak with other nationalities because of my limited English. No, you just have the confidence, the true heart to communicate, and that is important. Let's stop comparing. We should not compare ourselves to other people if they're doing good. What is important here is you have the true heart to communicate to other people. And if you are true person with a true intention, then everything will go into order. You don't need to be excellent in other languages like English to communicate well to other people. You just have to be true. Now, effective communication means conveying clear ideas and an information as well as active listening. We have one mouth and two ears. Focus on talking less and listening more. My dear friends, focus talking more. Unless, of course, in a scenario wherein you are sharing your reflection, sharing your ideas in your facilitation, or you are a trainer, that's another aspect. But in a conversation, focus more on listening than talking. In deeper connection, of course, family, strong relationship with your family, okay, to your neighbors, to your friends, there will be understanding, love, and of course, in a global aspect, negotiation, partnership with two countries. And if we have this negotiation and deeper connections, we will avoid war between two countries. Right? Just right. What's going on now? It's been a year. There's a war between Russia and Ukraine. It's because of that lack of deeper connection. And I would like to share this to all of you friends. Without communication, there is no relationship. Without respect, there is no love. And without trust, there is no reason to continue. So in communication, conversation, there should be a deeper connection and relationship. There should be love. There should be trust. That is deeper connection. What is the nature of communication? So we have the nature of communication here. Number one is awareness. Number two is practice. Number three is time. And based on the book that I shared in awareness, because we should be mindful of the word we speak to others. So we have to be mindful. Words can hurt people. So be mindful of your words. Words are powerful. If your words have love, sincerity, trust, then that's awareness. You are aware of every word that you utter, every word that you convey. So It's how you use your words. Words are power. It can make or break someone. If you break someone because of your harsh words, then there will be conflict. That's where misunderstanding in workplace, in your family, because you are not mindful of your words. So one nature of communication is awareness. Be aware of your words. Number two, practice. Practice, they said, makes us perfect. I will say practice makes us progress. There's a progress every time we practice. Everything is practice. That's the reason why the world class athlete in sports, they practice because the best method of effective to become effective in anything is practice. So practice good words. Be aware, practice, practice. So one person told me, how can be a good communicator? Well, it takes a lot of practice. When you start, then you start having that confidence. It's the courage to put yourself out there. If you want to be a motivational speaker, it's the courage to put yourself out there. If you want to be a leader, it's the courage to put yourself to be a leader. Courage first, confidence next. And of course, another nature of communication is time. What does it mean by time? Because meaningful messages should not be rushed. Did you hear Padre Raul with his reflections? Meaningful reflections should not be rushed. That's why I always tell other people when you speak in another language, I have many Indian friends here, by the way. And when you speak in your own native tongue, it's very fast, right? Now, when you try to speak in another language, you still have that nature to speak very fast. And then they can understand you. So speak slowly. I like to call it the power of pause, the pacing. The power of pause is very effective so that they can digest the words that you utter or the word that you convey. I'm from the northern side of the Philippines, and our dialect there, by the way, for the information of Dr. Lucas, we have actually, Padre Raul, help me here. Maybe we have 170 languages and dialect in the Philippines, right? Over 170.
Yeah.
You
Even if
include karaoke because Filipinos love to sing. So that is our
wow,
another language, karaoke.
wow, wow.
So when you speak in your native tongue and then you speak another language, let's say our national language is Filipino, you tend to speak too fast because you are used to that language, your original native tongue. So that's what happened when Indians, Chinese, Filipinos, when they speak English, when they are in United States and Canada, they can understand you because you speak too fast. So give time because meaningful messages should not be rushed. So that is the nature of communication. Very simple. You should be aware, take time to practice, and take time to speak. And now there are three types of communication. Friends, the three main types of communication are verbal, nonverbal, and visual. Let's start with the visual first. What we see in the billboards, in our cell phone, in our social media, Those are visual. Tablets, computer, what you watch, your emails, what you see, those are visual communication. The love letters, anything that you read, the books that you read are all visual. So that is one type of communication. The next one is, of course, the verbal, the words that we say. Now, for the information of everyone, including our live viewers in our Facebook Live, our verbal words is only 7% according to Meridian theory. And Meridian theory, that is from the professor in University of California. Albert Mehrabian is Professor Emeritus of Psychology at University of California, and he said that our words is only 7%. The rest are 93%. And what are those 93%? 38% is our vocal variety, our speed, our vocal tones, and then the 55% that is our non-verbal. So you see, verbal is only 7%, 38% is the tone of your voice. That's why there's a conflict when you say something. It's not what you say, but it's how you say it, right? The intonation, the rising of your voice. So even if you have a simple communication, they think you are angry is because of how you say it. And that will lead to conflict because it's not the words or it's not how what you say, but it's how you say it. Now, what is nonverbal? Nonverbal is 55%. That's a big percentage. All more than half of the 100% of the communication. Nonverbal here, it means to say your facial expression, your body language, your hand gestures, your body movements. Those are three main types of communication: visual, nonverbal, and verbal. Again, the ratio 7% for the words, 38% for your vocal tones, and 55% of your non-verbal or your body language. That's why in psychology, they said if you're talking to someone, always look at his or her feet. If his feet is pointing towards you, that's a nonverbal. That means to say he or she is still interested to talk to you because of that nonverbal cues. Now, if you're talking to someone and he's facing sideways because you want to get out of the room, then that's a nonverbal cues. But if a person is listening to you, he or she will face you 100% and his body is open because nonverbal is an effective tool when it comes to communication. You can tell a person if he's interested. If you recall what I said, in communication, you want to be interesting, but also you want to appear interested. Okay, let's move on. Confident messaging. What is confident messaging, by the way, friends? Confident communication requires learning some skills. And one of these skills are learned, you can learn. That's why I mentioned practice. Your conversation will be more powerful. Your messaging notice more and your connections to others will be deeper. That is confident messaging. I like to share this to you. Speak to those who have time to listen to you and listen to those who are willing to speak to you. So my question is, how much speaking do you do every single day? And how much listening every single day? I mean, when we say listening, truly listening with attentive focus on what the other person is saying, seeking to understand instead of planning your reply while they are speaking. And we have that beautiful quote by Stephen Covey, right? We listen not to understand, but we listen to reply. Have you noticed those in a conversation in a group? Everyone is talking, and I'm going to share this to you because of my friendship and deeper connection with Canadian people. And this is their observation. Why are you Filipinos when you talk? One is talking, the other one is talking. See, people are observing. And maybe not only other Filipinos, but other nationalities. When they are in a group conversation, one is talking, the other one is talking, the other one is talking. Stephen Covey beautifully said, we listen not to understand, but we listen to reply. So that is confident messaging. Okay? Confident messaging requires learning some skills, and one of these skills are learned in this busy world. We often dismiss learning skills around what we believe is something we know. The thing is, while we have all the basic of speech, some of us do not realize that we can improve and go beyond the basic. Okay? When we get out of practice with something, our standards can drop. When we get used to the running, of course, then let's say for a few weeks or months of practicing, it's like a muscle. It gets stronger and relearn the discipline of communication. So it's the same for communication. You practice, we need to keep those muscles just like in the gym. So confident messaging, clear communication takes time and practice. As long as you start, as in any endeavor, anything, sports, music, if you start and do it consistently, then you will improve your communication. So I am very shy. I am introvert. You notice those people who are really shy and introvert and they don't communicate well? Well, it's because they don't start. I'm also a shy person before, but I need to develop my communication skill because I'm in a marketing and I'm also a manager. And you can't be a good leader if you can't communicate, right? People are afraid of public speaking. They think that public speaking is speaking to 100 to 1,000 people. No, public speaking is if you talk to one person, that's already public speaking. We have this mindset that, oh, I'm scared of public speaking because I have to be in front of the stage. No. Okay. So you just have to start with one person. Then later on, that will make it two person. It requires time and practice. And that is my teaching to my youth leadership program. And the youth, by the way, are the immigrants. And then later on, I discovered when I talked to one school official here in St. Anthony School. And she said, I've been in this school for more than 30 years, but I still have that anxiety to speak in front of people. Why is that? Right? So it takes time and practice to have that confident messaging. Now, we discuss about communication. How can we manage conflict? If you have a clear communication, then you might as well avoid conflict. But again, we need to know how to manage conflict. Conflict arises everywhere. Workplace, in your organization, your club, in your neighborhood, your family. And poor communication leads to severe breakdown in cooperation. Ineffective communication results in what? Disagreements, misunderstanding, mistrust, and general disinterest. Now, how can you manage conflict? There are some ways to resolve conflict here. Number one, talk directly. If there's no physical threat, then talk directly to the person. Open up, speak up, talk directly. That is one way to resolve conflict. Another one to resolve conflict or manage conflict is choose a good time. The right timing is the best timing. Okay? Choose a good time. If you think the other person is angry, don't confront him or her. That's why there's a so-called lovers quarrel, right? Because the other partner doesn't know how to choose a good time. For husband out there, if you think your wife is angry, choose a good time to talk to her. And for those wives out there, if you think your husband is tired from work, don't nag him. Choose a good time, right? Husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, two friends. Of course, managing conflict when you plan ahead, particularly in workplace, you will be able to avoid conflict if you plan ahead. Let's say, oh, what I'm going to tell him. Oh, I should have a clear communication. That's planning ahead. Number four, to avoid or manage conflict, aside from having good communication, is of course, don't blame or name calling. This is what happening. We always blame others. That's what happening in the politics, particularly in the Philippines. There's an opposition, there's an administration, and they're blaming each other. Leaders should not blame each other. Instead, find a solution so that your country will prosper. No blaming, no name calling. Particularly during the pandemic, there are many opinion about the masking, and we having this name calling. Those who are following the masking, they said, oh, you are a blind follower. See, that's name calling. That's why there's conflict, there's war, there's disagreement. It's because of this blaming and name calling. Now, number 5, manage conflict is give information, the right information, okay? Not wrong information. You have to give information by conveying it clearly to other person. Now, number 6 on managing conflict is listen. We have to listen carefully. Number 7, show that you are really listening. By how? When someone is talking, you're not looking at your cell phone. Face to face conversation. One is talking and then you are looking at your cell phone. That's happening. Look at your surrounding. Observe the people in a restaurant. One is talking or one is in his cell phone or her cell phone. So you don't show that you are actually listening. Now, in workplace, if that is your nature, when your subordinate or your boss or your equal talking, giving direction, and then you're looking at something in your computer, you're not actually showing that you're not listening. And there will be conflict. So those are the 7 simple ways to resolve conflict. But I like to share the care, CARE. And what are those? Care, 4 steps to resolve conflict. And this is the core of our masterclass, my presentation today, the communication. Communicate. Open communication is the key in a dispute. So that is the letter C in the care, 4 step to resolve conflict. Communicate. Open up. Speak up. Tell what's inside you. That's why if you notice the Facebook, right? When you say in the Facebook, uh, what's that term again? What's on your mind? When you open your Facebook, what you can see there, what's on your mind? And that is Facebook. And everyone is to Facebook. We are addicted to Facebook. And it says here, what's on your mind? So that is letter C. Communicate. Next, in the care four step to resolve conflicts is actively listen. Okay? Listen to what other person has to say without interacting. Next is review options. Talk over options. Communicate the option. Looking for solutions that benefit everyone. Remember when I mentioned the blaming. Instead of blaming, look for an option. Review the option. How to resolve something. And the last one in the care, 4 step to resolve conflict is this one. And with win-win solution. You have to end it with a win-win solution. So that is care. Communicate, actively listening, review options instead of blaming, and then end with a win-win solution that will benefit everyone. Communication is very important. My wife is the type of person who doesn't speak. She's so quiet. And I'm not a mind reader, but sometimes because I always believe that communication is not only words, because words is only 7% according to Meridian theory. I always look at her body language because it's 55%. She may not speak, but I can tell her if she's happy through her body language. I can tell her if my wife has a menstruation. We call it in the Philippines dalaw. Father Raul knows that. Dalaw is she has a visitor. That's the menstruation period of every woman. And if you can tell that by, then you have to keep quiet. Okay? You have to serve your wife, your girlfriend. Father Raul's reflection is serving. Okay? When you see your wife or your girlfriend, they're not talking, they're quiet, but you can see their body language. Be observant, because communication is not only about words, it's observing the body language of other person. I learned that the hard way when my wife is still my girlfriend, and we got this quarrel every time, and then I realized, oh, she has dalaw, she has menstruation period, and we gentlemen, we don't know how to understand the feeling of our partner because we don't observe their body language, their gestures, their facial expression. And that is also what happened in organizations in a workplace because we don't know how to observe other people. That's why I mentioned one way to resolve conflict is choose a good time. Now, let's say you want to request a vacation to your boss. Check if your boss is in a good mood. That is good time. The problem in the world is it's all about me, and me. That's the problem in the world. We always think of ourselves only, and we don't care other people's emotion. We don't care other people if they are hurting, they are lonely, they are angry. It's because of me. So that is how are we communicate well and how to manage conflict. If my wife at home quiet, I'm also quiet. If my wife wants to talk, I talk. See, that is observing the gestures, the body language. Let us eradicate the me mentality. Let's invert that M to W from me to we. That's how we manage conflict and eventually lead to a deeper connection because of good communication. Thank you very much for lending me your ears. Thank you very much, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is Eric Tandoc. It's an honor. I'm humbled to be part of this masterclass today. Thank you very much. Over to you,